Alright folks, welcome to this video about the Asia Assassin bot, which I've just released to my Robot Lab, which is part of my Robot Builders Club over there on tradingnut.com. Now guys, today you're going to learn the strategy behind it, which is based on two strategies that have been dropped on the Trading Nut podcast recently, and you're going to see how to use the bot, so the different things are built into it, as well as some of the test results. So let's jump in because there's quite a bit to get through here. So first of all, whose strategies did I use? Well, I used Brandon Abass, his moving average Asian session 10 pip stop loss strategy. I use the sort of fundamentals of that to try and get us in the trade, and then I use the Scruffy Traders, who may not be on the show just yet, but he's coming if he's not here yet. The Scruffy Traders entry technique and exit technique. Okay, so along with a whole bunch of other stuff that I just threw in there to see if we could improve this. So to start off with, what can you see in front of you here on this Hanko Trade live account? You can see here we've got a bunch of red sort of thick arrows going down and then green ones going up. So part of Brandon's strategy was to establish a trend, and that's what this is showing us here, which is how do we get a trend to know which trade direction we're going to take. So the trend's going to determine the direction. So in this case we've got a downtrend, and in this case we've got an uptrend. So the trade we're looking for here is sells, and the trades we're looking for here are buys. As you can see, we took a buy there, and we'll go into that in a second. So first thing is, how do we get this trend direction, which looks ever so clean here, and it's not always this clean. So this is a 100 period EMA, this turquoise line that you can see here. Now what we're doing is we're sort of drawing a triangle around that, in terms of we're looking at where price is at one point, we're going back a few candles, and then looking at where we're looking at where the moving average is at one point, going back a few candles and looking at it where it is at that point. So in this case, let's just call it 20 candles. So it's going back 20 candles, and we want to see the distance between the price level here and the price level at this point here. Okay, so we want to make sure that that is within a minimum of, it's a minimum of X pips. So in this case, let's call it 10 pips. So 10 pips of height, and we've got 20 candles of depth, which is going to give us a slope. Okay, so by changing these figures, you're going to get a certain slope of the moving average, at which point you can sort of say, well, if we've got that kind of slope, well, let's say 7 times out of 10 you're probably in a trend. Okay, so that's what we're doing to get the trend. It's a sort of simple calculation here, looking candles back, pips up. That's what you'll put into the robot to establish this trend. And what I've done is I've put these arrows on the moving average, so you can see when it's actually picking a trend and when it's not. So when you're back testing this robot, you can have a look and go, oh, okay, yeah, so that looks like a trend to me, or that doesn't. Change the moving averages and all that sort of stuff. So let's close that out. Now, how do we get into this trade? So this is based on what Brandon was telling us in the video. And so we've got the trend, we're only looking for buys, we've got a greens, we're looking for sells if we've got reds. So we've got these faster moving averages here. So I've got a 20 and an 8 EMA, and what we're looking for is a cross from below to above of the moving average, and I might need to zoom in a bit here. So what happens at this point here, we cross above the moving average, then we're looking for a bear candle because he wanted a retest of that moving average, at which point we enter the trade, and then we start managing it. So you can see here, we don't just enter one trade, we've got a few trades, and this is the Scruffy Trader style. Okay, so the Scruffy Trader style is to get in, or to get out with quite a tight take profit. In this case, it's only 10 pips, and to scale into your trade in a negative drawdown fashion. So the way he does it is equal position sizes at every single level here, and you just hope that some of them get hit. You don't want all of them to get hit and hit your stop loss, but if the last one does get hit, it is only going to be 1/5 of your entire position, and the stop loss on that is only like 8 pips or something, and whereas versus the stop loss on the top one is the full 40 pips. Okay, so that's the magic behind this. So if you get some of them, you're only going to get triggered in with one trade, which if you lose the next trade, you're going to lose bigger than you won. But if on average you sort of win a few and lose a few, if you get some taking all of those positions and giving you a decent trade, you can actually make a lot of money out of this. If you get a few and then get out at a moderate amount, you might do pretty well over the long term anyway. So it's a bit of a different approach. I quite like it because it means that you're not ever going to really take the full hit of 1% on your account, even if you lose. All right, so that's how you get into the trade. Now, there's another way that I've done it. So this way I've just used a fixed take profit and stop loss, and we'll show you what this robot looks like to talk through these settings. Okay, so these are the settings here for the Asia Assassin. So the first one is a time frame to trade within. So if you want to trade only the Asian session, then you've got your time frame here based on your broker's time. This is the trend moving average. So I've got it set to 100, and we're looking for a slope of 10 pips across 20 bars, the most recent 20 bars. Okay, so that's what I talked about earlier. The orders, so here we've got our fast and slow moving average, which I talked about, and then you've got a risk of a percentage of the account that you want to risk. So in this case, we've got 1%, and then your trade split. So this is quite important. This is how many trades you want to get into in any one position. Okay, so it's going to split that position up of 1% up into 5 trades or however many you want. The next thing we've got is the entry. So you can either have, which determines the stop loss, and take profit. So if you can either have fixed pips, which is set to true, just you're going to take a set number of pips as your stop loss and take profit, or you can use what I've called a swing, and there's probably a better name for it, but I've used a swing for the time being. So set that to true, turn that one to false, and then you're looking for the recent swing low or high across the last 10 bars in this case. So bar 1 to bar 10. You could have bar 10 to bar 40 if you wanted. It's up to you. The swing stop loss buffer pip. So this is a bit of a buffer on that swing low. So if it's a low, it's going to be the lowest point. You might want to buffer on that lowest point, because if price goes there to test it, you might want to buffer of a few pips just to keep you in the game. And then finally, the take profit based on an R value. So say for example the stop loss works out to be a 20 pips, and you want to have that set to, well, in this case 0.5. It means you're going to take 10 pips as your overall take profit. Okay, the exits, we've got a break-even rule here. So that means that if you basically get into a bit of profit, we're going to move our stop to break even at whatever that profit figure is. Now, these exit points can all be used together, including the overall take profits here as well. So you can start to get quite a dynamic kind of looking robot. The use recover is whereby you get sucked into maybe 3 or 4 or 1. It could be 2 trades, and you want to get out at you're going to take a loss on some of them. So you put that at like a minus figure. So you could put it as a positive figure if you want. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. So at a minus figure, you're sort of like going, okay, I'm 3 trades in. I just want to get out of this position now, and I'm happy to take a loss on maybe the first 2 trades and win the first trade and take a break even on the second and win the third and get out at break even overall. So it's just sort of recovers your position at an overall loss of that position. Now, the last one is a trail stop, and there's a couple more settings under here, which are the start point and the trail pips as well. So we'll show you through all of these right now. That's how you operate this bot. Fairly simple, and let's go into some of the details here. So this is the example of the fixed stop loss and take profit. So we've got a take profit of, I think, 10 and then a stop loss of 40. So we get in with that initial position, and then we scale it out to 5 positions in total, all divided by that 1% of the account. So these are all set at 0.56 lots per position, and that's combined 1% risk. Okay, so that's your fixed pips. This is your what's this one? I think that's still the fixed pips. I think it's still the fixed pips. The next one is our percentage based exit. Okay, so this is your swing entry. So we're basically looking for the highest point over the last 20 candles, and 10 candles, I think. So that is this point here. We've got a buffer of 2 pips, which takes our stop loss out to here, and we've got a take profit of 0.25 R. So that is what we've got here, about 15 pips. So that is 0.25% of that. So we're going to get ourselves out pretty quickly on this trade, and you see here we've got triggered in with a couple of positions, and we got taken out. So that's the swing entry technique. So slightly different from the fixed take profit stop loss. The next one is break even. This one is an example of 1.5 pips. So we get triggered into 2 trades here. The break even is set as soon as we get, I think it's half a 0.25 pips in profit, and we move the break even. You can see it just there, it gets moved there. So if we were to come back, we would have got taken out at that break even point. The next one is recover. So we've set that to -5 pips. So these go 3 trades in deep. It goes, right, I want to get out now. So you could have got 4 and 5 trades, in which case you would have had quite a good winner here on this last trade. But you didn't, so you got 3 trades in and you got sort of taken out at a little bit of profit. So that one would work better if you were using the fixed take profit and stop loss, because you'll know how many pips in loss you can go before you can get out of a trade. The next one is the trail of the exit. So in this case, I've got it to start at 10 pips. It trails by 1 pip per movement. So at 10 pips in profit, we sort of ended up getting to about 20, and this gradually moves our take profit, our stop loss up and up and up, and gets us out at that level there. So that's trailing your exit there as well. And then finally, last but not least, I didn't even mention this in the settings, but this is the moving average exit. So this gets you out when price, so this is a way to try and get out when price has moved away from the moving average. Okay, so what we're looking for is a 10 pip move away from that moving average, at which point it says, let's close all the positions. So we've got an extreme move away from the moving average. This one isn't that extreme, but it's extreme enough to get you out of that position and go, okay, great, I'm going to take my profit here, because we've now sort of gone quite far away from that moving average, so we're probably going to try and retrace back to it. So it might get you out at more profit, and it's probably worthwhile using this one with a whole bunch of the other settings. Now let's just pop up and show you quickly. You've got the, that was a MA close, so you can choose the number of pips that you want to be above that moving average to close your positions, and then the trail stop here as well. So let's jump into some of the back tests. Okay, so it seemed to work quite well on the AUD pairs. So this is AJ, and we had a fairly decent profit factor. They've actually updated the Sharpe ratio here, so the figure is usually quite high, or much higher than it used to be, so easier to get a higher Sharpe ratio on the MT5 strategy tester. Win rates pretty good. The drawdowns not too bad either. Trade numbers are quite high, but bear in mind that this was trading, I think, maybe 2 split trades, so you want to divide that by 2. Here's another one. So this was AU, and 1.99 profit factor, which was really good. Another one on AU was a 1.62, and then this one was on AUD CAD AC, which was 2.08 profit factor, so good as well. Maybe not that many trades in this case. So I'm going to run these babies on a demo account. We're going to see how they go. All right, guys, look, if you are looking to get access to this particular robot, the Asian Assassin, it is a lab experiment, so it is an experiment. It does need a little bit of work. There are 40 odd robots over there in the Robot Builders Club that you can work on. You do get the source code to them. You can import them into your own FX Dreamer tool, which is the tool I teach you how to use, and you can adapt it to your liking, so you can change the way that it exits. You You can change the way that it enters. A lot of the work's been done for you, or in fact, most of the work's been done for you. All you need to do is tweak it a little bit to see if you can improve these strategies yourselves. Now, guys, head over there, tradingnut.com. Look for the robots link in the top. If you want to know a bit more, take the free training I've got as well and download that robot and have a play. Otherwise, I'll see some of you on the inside.